Hello, everybody, and thank you for listening to another episode of the No Fluff MSP Marketing Podcast. So I know last week was a big one. So this week I'm going to try and make it a little toiter because once again, there are 4 different tactics and strategies we're going to go over today. So I'm going to try and get through it as fast as possible while obviously not trying to rush because the last one was like 45 minutes. So let's see if we can do better this week while still delivering the goods. 2 housekeeping things really quickly before we jump in. We are doing a one-time offer. We've never done this. We probably will never do it again. It is a $2,500 lifetime offer for Scout Plus. So if you like what we're doing and you're a current member, I would recommend just switching to lifetime because we have a ton coming out and like you never have to worry again. It's like, all right, I'm in forever. So everything you guys come out with, I'm just going to get, and it kind of eliminates, the monthly membership. So I would definitely recommend doing that. We're doing it for 1 more week. So I filmed this Thursday. If you're listening to it Friday, May 2nd, this offer is good for another week. If you're listening to this podcast, this episode, anytime after like May 9th of 2025, just skip this part because it's not going to be there anymore. So I just want to make sure I'm kind of mentioning this right in the beginning. The other thing I'll say, really appreciate everybody that's listening. We have a really steady amount of listeners every week. If I could please ask a quick favor from you that will require nothing other than a couple of seconds. If you could please leave a review for the podcast, whether you listen to it on Spotify or Apple, there's an area to leave a review. You know how much I preach social proof. So if you're getting any value and you really like what we're doing and you want us to keep doing it, please leave a review. That's super helpful. And then please just click that share button and share it with one MSP that you think needs help growing their business. If you could do those 2 things for me really quickly, it would be extremely helpful as we continue to gear up really good episodes in the coming months and years. Awesome. All right, so without further ado, let's jump right into it. We covered 4 tactics last week. Now we're going to cover 4 more. And everything on this, we are saying are things that are 100% working. I'm seeing it working in every single market. I'm going to show the effort it takes, time to success it takes, the expense or investment it takes, and then how do I know what is the proof that it's working? So that's what we're doing for each one of these. Let's go. First one on this list is social media. Social media is working for businesses in B2B, B2C, etc. I have personally heard from over 12 social media management clients. We have 50 currently, or maybe 60 at this point. I'll need to ask Maddie. Clients that have said that we've helped them add revenue from our posts alone. Add revenue, not leads. Add revenue to their business on our posts alone. And this is a $400 a month service, right? So, and I'm not trying to pitch my service. I'm just saying these are people, and don't worry, it's not just us. I'm going to show you why they're having success. It's not just us posting is why they're getting revenue, right? So don't think I'm just showing, oh, our service does all this. Our service helps, but there's criteria that they're doing, and we're going to get into that. So it's not just a set and forget it thing, just like any marketing. So when you hear someone boo-hooing on social media that, oh, it doesn't work, whatever, just understand that they need to change their verbiage from social media doesn't work for MSPs to they have not figured out how to do social media for their MSP. That's it. It's just a verbiage change that needs to happen. Not their fault. They've not figured it out. They think it doesn't work, but they make blanket statements like this does not work. Whereas I have lots and lots and lots and lots of proof firsthand that this does work to drive real revenue, real connections, real clients over time. Now, there are some requirements for it to work. You can't just post and have 100 followers and think you're ever going to get anything out of that, right? So it requires actually meeting people, ideally in real life and a local market. That's an ideal place to actually meet other humans, right? Connecting with them, engaging with them, being social. You cannot just post and ghost and pray you'll get a bunch of leads. So if that is your plan around social media, then don't do it. Just don't worry about it. There's lots of other things as we cover. The clients that are seeing success, those 12 that have talked to me, are doing a few things. One, they're consistently adding 10 new connections every single week to their personal LinkedIn, right? It's good if you get business page followers, but if I'm being honest, I've never put much attention to business. We post on business pages. We post on our business page. We post on Alltech's business page. But a lot of times it comes from those personal connections and the content you're putting on your personal LinkedIn. But I do think you need to be posting in all places. I'm just saying that's where a lot of the value is. So that's where these 10 connections are coming from. Engaging with people that comment, reply on their content, right? So if somebody comments on your stuff, make sure you reply to them. That's so easy, but I see it missed all the time. As well as commenting on your Dream 100 content. So you might have 100 businesses in your area, like I've preached many times, that you really want to work with. Great. Connect with the people. You don't need to start selling to them. You need to start engaging with them. Comment on their content if it's good content. Be genuine. How to win friends and influence people. It works, I promise. And number 3, they send us custom content to post. So they don't just say, hey, post exactly what you want to post for me. They'll say, hey, this is the campaign we're running this quarter. Please tailor our post to this. They'll say, here's a video of me doing this thing. Please edit it and post for me, right? So they're also sending custom stuff. So there's a good mix, going back to that episode on custom content versus templates. There's a good mix, which helps both and helps the personal brand of that individual. So they'll send us office happenings, custom videos they shot, grand openings, etc., etc., etc. It's an engaged, what we call them, dancing partners. It's what we called them at Alltech too. Like we had a client that wouldn't work with us during onboarding and then they wanted to complain. They're not a good dancing partner. And so on the social media service, those that are finding success are oftentimes the good dancing partners. They want to dance. Sorry, that was really lame. All right. For those listening, I just did a really lame little shoulder jiggle. So moving on. So the 3 things: effort, time to success, and expense. Effort on social media kind of depends whether you have a content subscription or not, but I would say probably a 5 on effort. So it doesn't take a ton of effort to be consistent on social media. I don't put that much effort into my personal, but it seems to be doing very well, especially for lead generation and everything else. I would say 5. That's pretty in the middle. Time to success, just like networking, because they go hand in hand, I'm going to put it as a 10 here. If we get results before a 10 and it's actually a 1, which means fast, time to success would be 1 would be fast, as in a good thing. That'd be great. But to set expectations properly, let's say it's a 10, just like networking, and hopefully we get some early wins. But if you're going to commit to social, you need to understand it's going to take some time. Expense, I'm going to put a 3, right? Like you can use Growbly or Go High Level or Publer or Hootsuite or manually post. There's so many ways to post content nowadays that it's not that expensive. Like they're very inexpensive to do that. And, it's more about the effort, right? Now, it can get expensive, of course, but it doesn't have to, which is why I'm putting it at a 3. Awesome. So effort 5, time to success 10, expense 3. As we see once again, there's an inverse relationship between effort and expense and time to success, right? The things that oftentimes have a lot of effort or a lot of expense or both, time to success should be low. And if something doesn't take as much effort, doesn't take as much expense, well, we can pretty much guess what happens is it's going to take a longer time to success. And we keep seeing that over and over again. So proof that it's working, in 2023, Alltech added $10,000 in monthly reoccurring revenue. It's not a project. It's not like we think it came from LinkedIn. It was $10K MRR based on my personal LinkedIn posting. That is literally how they found us. They said that's how they found us. Immediate attribution, right? And then over a dozen social media clients, management clients have told me specifically that our services provided leads for their business. That's proof. That's the proof. I have personal proof when I was at an MSP, and we are helping MSPs that have their own personal proof. So that's how I know it's working. All right. Oh, this gets me fired up. Love this stuff. I hope you're fired up too. I hope you're drinking your coffee first thing in the morning and you're figuring out what you're going to add into your marketing mix. Next up, the second of the 4 we're going to cover today is cold email. Okay? Cold email is 100% working for businesses to this day. I personally don't use cold email. We did a little at Alltech for a while, but once the inbound engine got going, I mostly stopped cold emailing and instead emailed the growing list of prospects I was organically building. So I don't personally do this, right? When I was at Alltech, we did it early on. It definitely got us leads and closed business. but I eventually cut it off there as well. Now, you should not feel bad about cold emailing if you plan on doing it. You are selling a necessity. You are not selling a luxury car or a luxury good that would be a nice to have. If you're doing things right, you are literally securing the future of the business owner and their employees and helping them make more money. It is our moral obligation to get them out of the hands of no MSP, which is a disaster, or a shitty MSP, so they can truly be in a better spot. And if cold email helps you to do that, then you should have no moral worries about whether people aren't going to like it or blah, 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 blah. We have a moral obligation if we have a good business and a good MSP to serve more people, period. Now, if you don't believe what I just said, or if you wonder if you can really deliver a better life for your prospect, you need to make sure you actually have a good business to market. You don't have to be perfect, but make sure you're actually going to deliver a great service that you believe in. Like, let's just take a pause there. We do need to make sure we have a good business. I'm sure you have a great business and you can just skip over this part, but if you're unsure of what you deliver to clients, that's a bit of a problem. And you need to kind of sort out that aspect before you get into marketing your business too hard, I would think. But if you truly believe you bring a better world to the prospects, then cold email your heart out and you don't got to feel any type of way about it. Cool? For the MSPs that put the effort in, cold email absolutely delivers on conversation and appointments. Cold email is either a numbers game or it's a personalization game. It's either thousands and thousands and thousands of emails a day, or it's highly intentional, personalized emails to people you really want to work with. I'm not going to get into the specifics of cold email in this episode because it can get complicated. I'm just letting you know it works. And so if you're thinking about adding it into your mix, it is something that is working for MSPs in every market. Currently, I can't even imagine a world where I buy from someone that sends me a cold email, if I'm being honest. If I'm just one of the thousands of people that are getting this email, I don't imagine a world where I reply to that email. I just don't, right? But that's why it's a numbers game, because there are people that will. That's why I guess in thousands and thousands and thousands of them, because lots and lots and lots and lots of people are just going to ignore it. But if someone one-to-one cold emailed me and was bringing something really specific, and it was clear they did their research, like, hey, ScaleCon last year looked awesome. I saw the video of blah. Now they actually have my attention. And so it takes way more time and effort to do the personalization, but 100% based on quantity. If you sent the same number without personalization and personalization, the one with personalization would get an astronomically higher response rate, but time involved makes it a tough sell. Just the last point I wanted to make on that. All right, effort, I'm going to put this at a 10. I'm going to put the effort at a 10 because just because you don't have to talk to anyone on the phone does not mean it's less challenging than telemarketing. You got to get a series of tools. You got to warm up domains because you don't want to use your main domain because then it could be, identified as kind of a spamming domain if people are marking you as spam a lot. So you got to set up multiple separate domains. You got to consistently be adding new lists in. You got a lead score to see how people are going and put them into other workflows. There's just a lot that goes into it. You got to constantly personalize your messaging. You got to A/B test. Because again, people get cold email all day. Spam filterings are only getting better. So it requires a ton of effort. And for me personally, if I want to put a bunch of effort into something, I'm going to double down on content, right? Not really going to be cold emailing people. I'm going to say, you know what? If I have the time and money and effort, I'm going to put that towards more content. I want to build a magnet to get people towards me. personal beliefs. But again, if you are adding this into your mix, it 100% works. Effort's 10. Time to success, probably a 5. It doesn't take that long if you're kind of doing it right to at least start setting some appointments. Again, they're colder appointments, just like on the telemarketing side of things. An expense, obviously there's time expense, so there's opportunity cost, but I'm going to put, probably a 4 on expense because the tools are pretty expensive. Pulling lists now are pretty inexpensive. So expense is pretty low. So this is an interesting one. Effort very high, time to success right in the middle, and then expense not too bad, which is why it's a tactic that a lot of businesses that may not have a large marketing budget like to add in, which again, very reasonable based on these numbers here because they may have a lot of time to put into something. So it's okay if the effort's high. They just don't maybe have a lot of money and they need quick wins. That's why cold emailing kind of fills this sweet spot of kind of early wins in marketing. Cool. Don't let me lose you. The next 2 are exciting. So stick with me here. Proof that it works. First-hand account of multiple members that have literally showed me their Instantly account or other tools and their replies from cold email efforts. These are not vendors saying it's working. These are current MSPs that are putting in significant effort to make it work. No one that says it's working is like, oh yeah, fucking click this button and then leads come rolling in. That's not how cold emailing works. All right, 2 more. 2 more. I hope this is exciting. I hope you're getting something out of this. We're doing good on time, so stick with me. Number 3 of the 4, direct mail. I'm really sick of hearing that direct mail does not work for MSPs. We'll send one mailer out, not get anything from it, and say, what year is it? We shouldn't be doing this. For less than $1. Oh, I wish I would have had my examples. Let me Teams Steven here real quick. Can you bring in the direct mail examples from my drawer, please? All right, because I want to actually show you guys some visuals here for those that are kind of watching. For less than $1, you can get a physical piece in front of your target market. Get your Dream 100 figured out, Dream 200, Dream 300, and send them mail every single month. If it's a Dream 100, it's less than $100 a month for your main people, the people you know you want to work with, to see you in a cool physical form. And everyone else is cold emailing, cold calling. No one is sending them an interesting, unique physical piece, right? Thank you, man. So to me, as a marketer, I put a lot of value on this. Every Scout Plus member that joins, they get this little newsletter from us, right? What do you do next? Here's a book and onboarding with Maddie. Then you do the journey. Then you jump in the community. Then you start the courses. Then you jump in the fireside chats. And then let's start using content. I almost don't want people to jump to content because they're not going to know what to do with it. It's like, do all this shit first and then here, right? So here's a great example of an automated direct mail piece we send out every single time someone signs up for Scout Plus. And there's a nice letter from me. There's a here's the podcast, here's the YouTube, here's all the cool shit your membership includes. And as a good marketer, upsells on the back. And our team photos, because like I always say, show your face, right? So this is a physical thing. Literally, since we started sending this, retention went up because now they know what to do next. Before they signed in, yeah, there's an onboarding video, but they don't really know. I send them this thing. It cost me only $2.50, $2.50. And now they get a physical thing. In the world of digital, we want to bring things into the real world. That's why I love direct mail. It brings things into the real world. And in the advent and the age of AI, bringing things into the real world is hyper important. There's so many clever things you can do with direct mail, right? This is are you ready to level up your IT? This is a co-managed postcard. Our target market for co-manage are a bunch of IT people. They're nerds. Let's get their attention with a video game themed direct mail, right? Technology pain technology pain points bingo, right? This is a bingo card where it's literally every pain point I've ever heard while I was a salesperson for an MSP. These are things that the prospect actually says. It doesn't say fucking dark web monitoring. It doesn't say stuff they don't care about. It says real pain points, slow response, not keeping up, recent cyber attack, overly complex, no training, extended downtime, real pain points. So when someone gets this thing and it goes, oh, you won. Wait, that's not good. This is how you get someone's attention with direct mail. It can't just be someone with their hands on their face, frustrated at a computer, and it says, IT. That's not going to work. That's not going to do anything. We got to put in the extra effort to get their attention, okay? So that is oftentimes why people say direct mail doesn't work. They might try and send one out and it not work. They might send something that is horrible content and it might not work. They may never follow up with those prospects with a LinkedIn message or a phone call, which dramatically increases how effective direct mail is. So direct mail is 100% working. Okay, cool. How do I know that, right? I'm going to make this super easy for you. If you need to set appointments, no matter what your marketing maturity is currently, whether you're small, massive, whatever, if you need to set additional appointments, like you're struggling and really need an appointment like next week, go watch our direct mail course on MSP Camp right now. Follow the directions that Hunter gives and go set an appointment. That is all. I don't even care at all. I'm not just saying this. I genuinely do not care if you sign up for a trial just to watch the course, download a few pieces that you want to do this campaign, and then cancel your membership. You get a 7-day trial, do that. In 7 days, you can do all of that, cancel, right? If you're like, you know what, I actually don't want to pay the money, but I need this. I wanted to see if this works. Go for it. I don't care. I just want to see you have success. And you're like listening to the podcast, you're an engaged person. Excuse me. Go do this. Whatever the hell it takes for us to continue to take action is great. Because if I can get you some early wins, that is great for both of us. Cool. So another one of those things, right? Here we see this inverse relationship once again. Effort 7. There's a lot of effort. You gotta pick out the right ones, right? I mean, if you have a content subscription like MSP Camp or any of the other ones, it's going to make this easier. But either way, the effort's probably a 7. You have to pull a list. You have to call that list to qualify the list before you even send anything out. You got to send it out. You got to see when it gets delivered. You have to call the next day. You got to do that 3 times. Like, there's a lot of effort involved. Time to success, we're going to put as a 3. Because if you do all of that correctly, you should honestly set an appointment with about every 100 dials. Like if you actually qualify the list, if you actually send out the postcard, if you actually call the day after to the person that was on that list, and you actually follow the script in the course, you should find success pretty quickly with this. An expense, again, I'm going to say pretty high, right? It's probably an 8 because, you got to send out hundreds of these. It can be hundreds of dollars. You need a caller, even if it's just like a part-time person to follow up again on the direct mail piece. So there is expense involved for sure. It's not a cold emailing where you can just send thousands and thousands and thousands and your expense does not go up. But it's also a very scalable tactic that can continue to drive repeatable results. Proof that it's working, just go watch our direct mail course. Just go watch it from a current MSP that grew significantly with this being their main strategy for growth. That's pretty good proof, dude. Or dudette. All right. Let's take a quick pause. Hold on. Don't leave. We're not taking a long pause. Let's just stretch it out, right? Whether you're in the car, whether you're having your coffee, let's just chill. That was a long one. Let's take a second. I'm going to get a drink of water. All right. You ready? Let's dive back in because we're covering the 4th in this episode and the 8th in total. It's a lot of stuff that's working, y'all. That's a lot of stuff that's working. When people say stuff's not working, it means they're not putting enough effort or they don't know what they're doing. Cool. Number 4, technically 8. Meta ads. Meta ads. What's Meta? Obviously, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, WhatsApp, etc. Our target market isn't on Instagram. Facebook is not for businesses. Cut that shit out right now. Let's cut that shit out. Okay? We need to stop that. Your target market is on Facebook. Your target market is on Instagram. Your target market is on YouTube. Your target market is on freaking TikTok. My mind has been seriously changed on this recently. For one, Meta ads make up 30 to 40% of our current growth, and we're a B2B company. And it's not because we're low ticket. A lot of leads coming in are high ticket, $2,500 a month, $4,200 a month on our agency side. So it's B2B low ticket and B2B high ticket. We consistently get leads for MSPs using Meta ads. This is not like secondhand. This is not, oh, it only works for marketing companies. This is like, we're doing it for us. We're doing it for MSPs. I also heard from an agency owner that is way smarter than me, way bigger than MSP Camp, that did an incredible data-driven presentation on just how many business owners use and respond to TikTok ads. So we need to get rid of this notion that LinkedIn and Google is the only place to find business people. Business people are people. You're an owner. You might be a marketer and the business professional. You're on these platforms. If you're not, you might be the exception, honestly. Now, I do not have proof on the other platforms. I do not have proof on the other platforms. Like, I can't say TikTok ads are working. I can't say YouTube ads are working for MSPs. I can't really say that. Like, I'm sure they are. Someone's figured it out, but I don't currently have a lot of proof of that, so that's why it's not on this list. But I do on Meta ads, which is why it made the list. So I'm not gonna add those into what's working yet. Don't worry, we're moving fast. Meta ads are working for MSPs. We just got an MSP lead with 7 businesses from Meta ads. The lead that we got, this MSP, that prospect had 7 businesses, and that human was on Facebook or Instagram, right? We have another client that closed an insurance client that specifically mentioned that the clever ads are what got them. Okay, so why doesn't everybody do it? I will admit it varies greatly how long it takes and what content works and what market. It does require consistent testing and iteration. If you've listened to this podcast for any amount of time, you know I talk about the struggles of getting our ads right. It took months and months and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. I almost quit before we finally kind of cracked the code on getting leads for MSP Camp. And that code is significantly more difficult for an MSP. So it is not an easy thing to just like, oh, we're going to turn this on and get leads. So just keep that in mind. The best way to think about Meta ads is like digital billboards. Businesses that use billboards are not checking weekly or monthly on how many attributions they got on that billboard. They just don't. They understand that it's a branding and recognition exercise that does increase leads over time. If you don't have that mindset, don't do Meta ads, which is completely fine because lots of other stuff works. I always think of Meta ads as an addition to the overall strategy. We don't want to bet the farm on Meta ads. We need to be doing a lot of the other stuff right, and Meta ads really is a nice accelerator. Cool. Effort, it depends. Effort depends a lot, if I'm being honest. And this is going to seem like I'm trying to sell you on the membership, but I'm not, especially because I feel like a lot of the listeners of the podcast are already members. So as I'm saying this, I'm just going to assume you're already a member, and that way it does not seem salesy, okay? If you're working with MSP Camp, if you have an MSP Camp membership, the effort for Facebook ads is like a 3. It's like a 3. Because you have so much content right now, you can constantly add as ads in your ads manager. So it's The effort's more tweaking budget, tweaking audience, swapping out content. If you don't have an MSP Camp membership and you're running Facebook ads, I have not seen really any other content providers in the MSP space that have like ready to run ads for Meta. They do good with like social media posts, infographics, blogs, etc. But I don't really see really solid like video, motion images, and static images for ads. That's my experience though, right? But my point is, if you don't have MSP Camp or another content subscription, it's a 9 on effort. It's a 9 on effort because you have to constantly be thinking of like new content to get into the ads, because 9 out of your 10 ads are going to fail. So you have to constantly be adding in new ad creatives. Well, if you have a content subscription, you just take the content and put it into the ads. Like that's it. Like, and then make sure the formatting's right and you go. So effort is going to highly depend on whether you have excellent content or not. And maybe you already have an archive of your own content, or if you're starting ads from scratch and have no content, effort is going to be extremely high. That's from a lot of lived experience here. That is not me trying to sell you. That is lived experience on content is everything with meta ads. Cool. Time to success, probably a 6. So for us, it took 4 months of like lots of budget, lots of tweaking before we started seeing any solid results. Fortunately, it's been incredible ever since then. Expense, it's going to vary. It's going to vary a lot. Yeah, it's going to vary a lot, but I'm going to probably put it at like probably a 6 again, probably a 6. And that's because I've seen people get incredible results with just like $30 a day. You know, that's $900 a month. When it comes to advertising, $900 a month is not very expensive. But when you're hitting a local market, $900 goes a long way. If you're trying to hit the US, $900 doesn't do anything, right? So yeah, I mean, if you have even more budget, great. So that's why I would put the expense probably at like a 6. Cool. Proof that it's working, 30 to 40% of our growth is from meta ads. Like 30% of MSP, it's probably 30% now. It was 40%. We were continuing to build out our marketing mix. So it's like probably closer to 30% now, but still 30% of our growth is from meta ads, Facebook and Instagram. Like that's pretty wild if you think about it. Also a little scary because I don't like being dependent on any one platform. So that's why we're really investing in other avenues of growth. We also run ads for only 2 clients right now. We only run meta ads for 2 clients. Well, we're onboarding a couple more, but I mean, currently running is 2, and both clients have gotten leads from meta ads. So it's like, yeah, it's working for them too. And they're not blowing an insane amount of budget to start getting some leads. It's not a ton. They're not getting multiple leads a month. It's not some silver bullet that you turn meta ads on and now we're growing like crazy, right? But it's a nice thing to add in to what you're currently doing. So those were from part 1 and part 2. Those were the 8 things that are 100% working for MSPs in markets around the world. And I know this because we help MSPs. I'm talking to probably over a dozen MSPs every single week. What's working? What's not working? What can I help you with? What challenges do you have? So it's real proof from MSPs doing this every day. So be encouraged. Be encouraged that you can find something that works for you, because there's a lot of stuff that's working. It's all hard. It all takes effort. It all takes sacrifice. It all takes dedication. But there's a lot of stuff that's working. A couple of notable mentions before we wrap up today around things that are working. 1, Google reviews are still hyper important. So as you're doing these other tactics, your Google reviews really help to augment everything else. So they're still hyper important. I've been preaching this for now, I guess 3 years. And the importance of them have not changed a second, even with AI. 2, if you're running campaigns or ads to a shitty site, you need to get that fixed. You need to get that fixed. And I promise I'm not saying this to sell you, because we literally we're like booked out for 3 months. I couldn't take you on if I wanted to. So this is not me trying to sell you a new website. This is me saying you got to get it fixed. You got to get your site fixed if it sucks. We built that service because I was very unhappy with what MSP agencies are, how they're building sites. Like, it's actually kind of crazy and very sad. They were sending out like 20,000 quotes for a piece of shit site. And we're like, we have to do it better. And we 100% do it better. The problem is now the demand is too high, and like scaling a team that has the quality we require is just tough. It's tough. So we're trying to fix that. Hopefully we can help you soon too. But like right now, that is a true pain point. We're super duper busy. We're creating stuff I'm very proud of. Our clients are very happy, but just not extremely scalable. So we're just doing our best there. I do have to say one thing, because I had to save 2 people recently. If you have a website currently, then maybe you're not happy with it, but it's been around Google for a long time. Like, it's getting traffic, and you have a lot of pages, and it has maybe you have a decent domain authority. Like, if you have a site that's existing and you're not happy with it, do not, please, for the love of God, do not go to some template provider that is going to stand up a site, and then you're going to cut over to that site. Why do I say that? Because your current site, even if it's not bringing leads, has a lot of value. There might be a lot of pages that are currently indexed. Domain authority is good. Like, a good SEO company can really bolster that. If you cut over to somebody, I'm not going to name any names, but some of these template providers where it's like, oh, look at this beautiful site, but we destroy your current site because all those pages you had on Google are no longer there, because we have this beautiful new site, you are giving yourself a true disservice when it comes to actually inbound leads. I've seen this multiple times. And okay, I'm just going to go ahead and say one. So I was working with a guy. He used to get a lot of SEO leads. He stopped getting SEO leads, so he worked with a vendor that part of their service just included a website. That website had 5 pages, which means all those other pages that he had currently had on your site that was providing value are now destroyed. They're not on Google. They're not redirected to this. They're destroyed. So Google, all of those, probably 1,000 keywords they were ranking for, are going to disappear. So instead of an SEO company being able to come in and help them get to that first or second page where they start actually providing value, they're gone, and there's a site that looks pretty but has no value. Do not, please, when I make this note of you need to get a new site if it sucks, please do not go to a provider that's going to destroy any current value you have on your site. Now, caveat. If you have a site that only has 4 or 5 pages and not much traction to it, or if you don't have a site, like if you're like a smaller MSP, then fuck it. Yeah, definitely. Like, go with MSP sites, go with 7-figure MSP, go with these template websites. Like, it doesn't really matter at that point, because they are going to be way better than what you currently have. And there's a lot of value in an inexpensive, beautiful website. So I'm not saying that's bad. I'm saying it's bad if you have a site that's got 40 pages, good domain authority, like an opportunity for an SEO to come in and really boost it and start getting you inbound leads. Don't destroy that by then moving to a vendor like the ones I just mentioned, where a lot of that could potentially be gone. Now, I don't know. They might have some way where they actually, account for that. But based on what I just saw and saved in MSP yesterday or 2 days ago, it doesn't seem like it. But again, I don't have intimate knowledge. I might be wrong, but be wary of that before you make a big decision. Hope that makes sense. Please. Okay. Number 3 on the notable mentions, you should add the tactics you care about into your strategy. You do not have to do all of this, but maybe a few of them interest you more than others. That's an important consideration. Like, if you don't want your brand to send cold emails, even though you know it's effective, then don't do that. If you do really like content and you're creating a lot of content and you have an interest in ads, then do that, right? Like, look at these 8 and more and say, like, what do I have an interest in? Because it is pretty important that you have an interest in the thing. Like, there's a reason we do really well in meta ads. Like, we love content. We love creating content. We love creating ads. So, like, let's keep trying things. It's like fun for me, and it's effective. It's working really well for us. Like, why? I kind of have an interest in it. I don't have an interest in telemarketing or cold emailing. I'm never going to do it. Like, I just don't have an interest in it, and that's fine. Like, we need to find, based on how we want to grow, what we want to add into the mix. into the mix. All right. I think shit's getting a little shaky in the economy right now. As you know, as you're probably potentially feeling, shit's getting a little shaky. So if you've been on the fence about executing on your marketing, now's the time to get going. Yeah, that's it. No other point there. If you're like on the fence, like, oh, I really need to, yeah, you do. And you should just go ahead and get going if you're not. Cool. It takes time. Number 5 on this one is it takes time to get good at literally anything. There's not a single thing on this list you can jump into and be better than your competition in less than 6 months. Excuse me, better than your competition that's doing this well. You're going to be better than your competition in a month. But for those that are actually succeeding with this, you're not going to be better than them in less than 6 months. You're just not. That's like a white belt showing up to jiu-jitsu and thinking he's going to beat a blue belt. There is no way in hell that's going to happen. It's going to require you showing up every day on the mats, getting beat up, trying to beat them up, etc. So not a single one of these is going to work without significant effort over a long period of time. We have to be truly dedicated and have a longer time horizon if we ever want to find success in growing our business, period. Cool. Last on this notable mentions before we wrap up today, there's a lot of other stuff working, okay? There's a lot of other stuff. These are just the most definitive and easy to show a direct ROI. However, as you mature in marketing, you may realize that LinkedIn ads are an excellent way to keep your brand top of mind. You might want to sponsor local events and use that in your marketing. You might wrap your cars to drive around. This list is not exhaustive as to what is working. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of stuff is working. These are just the 8 most definitive things based on a lot of proof that I'm hearing from MSPs today that are 100% working in every market around the world. But that doesn't mean it's the only thing working. And you should be totally comfortable with trying things and having an idea and running with that idea, even if it doesn't fit into the natural and usual mold of what is and is not working. Because a lot of marketing is important to have fun. That's why I have the greatest job on the planet. So that is it for part 1 and part 2 of what is working today for MSPs. I really hope that this was helpful. I really hope it gave you some good ideas and maybe some motivation. Thank you for still being here. Like, seriously, thank you. And don't forget, if you got any value today or in any other podcast, leave a review, share the podcast. It really helps a lot. Thanks again. You are awesome, and I'll see you on the next one.